It's a Sunday afternoon in 2038. And are you getting ready to watch some football? The AFC International Division is on the line for the London Jaguars and the Berlin Buccaneers. Mexico City, led by Bryce Young, has nearly locked up the NFC Americas division. But a pivotal Game 18 with ever-dangerous Rio de Janeiro looms. Aaron Rodgers has yet to decide where he'll play next season, but that's another story. This scenario sure sounds like a stretch, except for the part about Rodgers. The NFL in 20 years will most likely look very different from the NFL today. What seems unthinkable today is tomorrow's to-do list. The NFL has 40 teams, seasons spanning 18 games, and entire divisions based in other countries. It's not necessarily likely, but it's also not impossible, is it? Welcome to SportsWire. If you're a football freak, you'd love us. So why don't you go ahead and click the subscribe button already? Go on. The NFL has had its eye on the vast potential of the European market and the lucrative international TV market for years. With the exception of 2020, the league has played at least one game outside the United States every year since the 2007 season. Since 2013, multiple games have been played on foreign soil, with 6 last year and 5 this year. To put it another way, there's a reason the NFL holds games in England, Germany, and Mexico instead of Memphis, St. Louis, and San Antonio. The endgame here could be more than just a single team establishing itself in Europe. In a bold move, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell floated the idea of an entire division in Europe during his recent visit to London for the Giants-Packers game. The proposal, which he made over the weekend, could mark a significant shift in the league's global expansion plans. Let's take that overly optimistic statement at face value and run with it. How would such a radical departure from the NFL's America First business model work? Expansion, expansion, expansion. According to Pro Football Talk, 2 existing teams and 2 expansion teams could establish permanent residence in Europe. There are already in place 2 NFL-ready stadiums in London, Wembley, and Tottenham Hotspur, and at least 1 in Germany, with recent upgrades to stadiums in Paris and Rome putting them in the running as well. Multiple teams on continent at the same time is a good idea from a logistical standpoint. Each team could compete a third of its schedule without leaving the continent. The flight time between London and Munich, for example, is less than the flight time between Atlanta and Philadelphia. Combine that with 3 lengthy road trips, put in a Thursday game on one side to cut down the overall length, and a home away from home in the United States, and the scheduling aspect of a European expansion begins to become more manageable. Throughout the season, the NFL travels to other countries such as Germany. Is it capable of establishing a permanent presence in Europe? That's the glorious all-encompassing fantasy. The reality is harsher, beginning with the fundamental biological effects of international travel. Have you ever tried to work while jet-lagged? Consider evading a 300-pound lineman with a head that is 4 time zones away. Traveling from Seattle to Boston is insignificant in comparison to traveling from Seattle to Europe. On the good side, analytics experts who can estimate the effects of travel on the body, and sleep experts who can advise teams on how to prepare their players properly stand to profit if the NFL expands into Europe. Placing an American team in Europe effectively guarantees that the entire team will be a rootless vagabond, bouncing from home base to visiting stadium to home base for 7 months of the year. It would be difficult for the families of the players, coaches, team officials, and everyone else involved. Yes, that is why they make the big bucks. But big bucks are also available in the United States. To attract players, European teams will have to pay a premium. The fluctuating value of the dollar, the tax implications of being an American living abroad, the European cost of living, the separation from friends and family, and the sheer culture shock of living abroad are all real-world concerns that must be addressed when considering a transatlantic team. While many of those concerns could be addressed simply by raising the salary cap for European teams, that would necessitate buy-in from the league's domestic owners, who would all be paying more in travel costs and wear and tear as well. Then there's the most basic of questions. How popular is the NFL outside of America? The NBA and MLB both travel well, as evidenced by the NBA's global footprint and the recent World Baseball Classic's resounding international success. But what about football, that most patriotic of sports? Does that effectively translate to European sensibilities? Would it be popular for more than a once-a-year visit? The NFL's International Series games are always huge crowd pleasers. Seeing the Seattle Seahawks or Green Bay Packers play in a soccer stadium once a year is a must-do, whether the stands are packed with Europeans or expatriate Americans. But how about a meaningless game against the Browns or Lions in late November? Furthermore, there's the question of where these teams will come from. Will the NFL add 2 more teams? If not, which teams, aside from the Jaguars, are the most likely to relocate? Start by determining which teams have yet to secure multi-billion-dollar stadiums. Panthers and Titans, keep an eye on your backs. Increasing the number of teams in the league necessitates realigning divisions and possibly adding more than 2 franchises in the future. Some NFL observers believe the league's ultimate goal is 40 teams. 8 divisions of 5 teams each, which in our opinion is unimaginably large and unwieldy, according to our current way of thinking. The obstacles may be even bigger than the NFL's dreams. But if any organization can defy the laws of physics, biology, and time itself, it's the NFL. This should be entertaining to watch. Subscribe to SportsWire for more updates on the matter. See you in the next video.